When you were in the 1971 war, the liberation of Bangladesh, what was it like then? What were the operations that you conducted? I believe General Shabeg, I keep coming back to General Shabeg, I believe he was involved in training the Mukti Bahini.
That's right.
At that stage.
That's right.
What was your area that you could do? Because now time has passed, I guess you can tell us.
My area was to take my battalion from the most unexpected route
Kulna.
into Dhaka.
Okay, Dhaka.
So there were large formations with tanks coming towards Dhaka from all ways. Pakistanis never expected that a force will come in from here. I had to cross the Brahmaputra river. There was no bridge on the Brahmaputra river. And to cross a river, take your whole battalion across and then get behind the enemy. My task was get behind the enemy, trap him there, and then we have a para-drop at a place called Tangail. Then you link up with them and move on to Dhaka. How to cross Brahmaputra river? So we decided the only way is we go in country boats, huge fishing boats.
How many men were you?
We were about 600.
Okay.
So about 30 to 40 in a boat, about 20 boats. So in 3 days or 4 days, we collected all these boats. Then we collected bullock carts, about 40 bullock carts. We said we'll put our heavy weapons and ammunition and rations on these bullock carts. Because once we've crossed the Brahmaputra river, how do we start advancing? We have no trucks, we have no transport, we are on foot, man-pack basis. So the bullock carts will carry our luggage. So we mustered these boats. We got into the boats, one person with a torch in each boat, flashing the torch here, flashing, because we crossed at night. At night, we went across the Brahmaputra river silently. Pakistan is there on the other side. They didn't know that we are crossing the Brahmaputra river. We got across and we got behind this post called Jamalpur. And we dug in there, in paddy fields. I could see the post in front. 2 nights we stayed dug in there, behind this Jamalpur post. Buses and trucks and all moving on the road. We kept quiet. They didn't know any soldiers are sitting here. Carried out a little reconnaissance at night, found out exactly where these Pakistanis are, and we were planning our attack, to attack Jamalpur now. Meanwhile, they got the scent that there's some people sitting behind us.
In the paddy fields.
In the paddy fields. They said, must be Mukti Bahini, this, that, and the other, must have infiltrated, they must be there. We'll rush them. Meanwhile, General Niazi sent them a message to say that Indian army is coming from all directions, Dhaka is now being threatened, we are short of forces, you fall back on Dhaka now. So, the whole battalion, 31st Baluch, they got ready with their weapons, they got into their vehicles, and suddenly from the paddy fields, we see headlights coming towards us, you know.
No.
They're rushing down the road, coming down the road in a single file like this. So I had groups on both sides of the road with rocket launchers and all that. Fire.
Ambushed them on the road.
Ambushed them on the road. They started jumping out of the vehicles, shouting, Allahu Akbar, this, that, and the other. Some people started charging towards our trenches. We were in our trenches in the paddy fields. Some are lying on the road, dead, wounded. Some are rushing towards us, and we knocked them out while they were coming. Hundreds of them were killed in that operation. Eventually, a group came out from Jamalpur carrying a white flag. Surrender. We surrender. So I sent a Major Nambiar, to go in there and accept their surrender.
The same who became General Nambiar then?
General Nambiar.
Okay, he was major then.
He was a major. He was my company commander. His brother was in the foreign service.
Yeah.
He was ambassador and whatnot. Very good family. So I told Nambiar, you go get the surrender. So they surrendered. And then now how did we get to that place? We were marching and bullock carts were carrying our weapons and our rations.
So the Tangail paradrop has not yet happened.
Not yet happened.
Okay.
Now, the day this action took place in Jamalpur, 4 p.m., paradrop was to take place at Tangail, 4 p.m. And now it was 6 a.m. How do we get there? And if we don't get there and a paradrop takes place, Pakistan...
Sitting ducks.
Would come with their tanks and all that.
Yeah.
So I sent my officers, including Nambiar. I said, let's muster whatever transport we can. Buses, trucks, fire engines, automobiles, auto rickshaws, vans, multitude of vehicles we mustered. We all got into those vehicles and started moving towards Tangail. 4 o'clock, the paratroopers dropped there. 4:15, we are in Tangail. And they were also Marathas, the paratroopers. Yeah. Second Marathas, we were first Marathas. Bolo Chhatrapati Shivaji ke Maharaj ki jai, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj ki jai. We embraced this, day and the other. And we had their chap called Tiger Siddiqui from Bangladesh. Yes. He was waiting there also. And then from
there... What a warrior.
Warrior.
There are stories about Tiger Siddiqui which are like...
He was like a warrior.
Yes.
He would march like Hitler, Gestapo step,
yeah.
you know. He saluted us and all that. And then we moved to Dhaka. Now we get to the outskirts of Dhaka. We are not in communication with anyone in the Indian Army. We are not in radio touch with anyone. We can't speak to anyone somehow. Out of range, this, that, and the other. We get to a place called Mirpur Bridge, which is outskirts of Dhaka. And we dug in. We said, we can see Dhaka in front. On the radio, we are hearing announcements from Manik Shaw to say, surrender. I ask you all to surrender. We'll be given Geneva Convention treatment. We'll look after you. Why do you want to give your lives? Please surrender.
Oh, you heard this legendary speech of General Manik Shah.
Manik Shaw. Not once, not twice. He repeated it about 6 times. You know?
Yeah.
I'm asking you to surrender. You're listening to it and saying, how do we tell people in India, in Shillong and Calcutta, that we are already...
Dhaka is already falling.
So, my brigade commander was a chap called Brigadier Clare. He's also a Sardarji. And my GOC was General Nagra. Huh. Very fine man.
Yes.
So, Nagra said, why don't we send a patrol to the bridge to see if there's anyone there? We sent a patrol. We found the bridge abandoned. Pakistanis had left and gone back to Dhaka. There was a telephone there. So, one of those telephones you revolve like this. So, the reply came from the other end. Headquarter Eastern Command here. Headquarter Eastern Command means Headquarter Eastern Command, Dhaka, not India.
Yeah, sure.
So, Brigadier Clare said, can we speak to General Niazi, please? Who's calling? He said, we're from the Indian Army. General Gandharv Nagra would like to speak to him. Now, Gandharv Nagra and Niazi had been in college together in Lahore. Old friends. So, Niazi came onto the phone and he said, hello. He said, Abdullah, he's Abdullah Niazi, A.A.K. Niazi. Abdullah, this is Gandharv here. Gandharv, where are you? He said, I'm at Mirpur Bridge. We are waiting to come in. We are hearing Manik Shaw's request for you to all surrender, but we are not receiving any reply. We are not in touch with anyone. He says, I have already given orders to my troops to move into the barracks and to be ready to surrender. We are ready to surrender, but we don't know how to inform India and the Indian Army that we are ready to surrender. I don't know how to respond to Manik Shaw's speeches. So Gandharv said, well, we are here. So he said, what I'll do is I'm sending General Jamshed in a car. About 20 or 30 of you come in. I'll send you 6 cars. We'll meet in the operations room and we'll discuss here. So these 6 cars arrived with a flag flying.
Which flag flying?
That General Jamshed's...
But this could be a trap.
Could be a trap. But then at that time, soldiers take a chance, isn't it? Could be a trap.
Okay.
But we said we will take this risk. So we got into these cars. Because by that time...
Have you called back command headquarters?
Well,
you haven't. You take the decision there.
We took the decision. General Nagra took the decision. We're driving in with General Jamshed, asking the driver, what is that? He says, the university. And what is that? That's the race course. So we get into Headquarters Eastern Command. And a young officer comes out, maybe staff officer, to Niazi. He says, General Niazi is in the office. So Gandharv Nagra and Brigadier Clare walk in. I'm just along with them. They embrace each other. He says, hello Gandharv. He says, hello Abdullah, how are you?
Unbelievable.
How are you? So he says, हम तो surrender करने को तैयार हैं. We have lost the battle. I've ordered the troops into barracks. They're all in barracks. But I don't know how to inform you all. He said, well, we'll come to your headquarters and we'll continue trying to get in touch with India.
What's his body language like, General Niazi? Is he looking dejected, depressed? He's a general who's lost a war.
They were expecting the 7th Fleet to come. They were expecting help from Pakistan. Dejected. He was feeling let down that West Pakistan has let them down.
What was his, like, you're saying he got up and hugged?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
Old schoolboy friendship, you know.
Okay.
Really, then we got in.
Was he armed?
He had his revolver.
He had his revolver.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were all armed.
Okay.
So somehow or the other, from his office, through one of our channels, we managed to get through to Shillong. Passed a message there to General Jacob, Chief of Staff, to say we are already in Dhaka, we are sitting in Niazi's office. He's ready to surrender. But he doesn't know how to inform you, and we are not in touch with anyone either. So he said, let me tell the army commander. So he spoke to General Arora, and they said, Jacob said, I'm coming down by helicopter. I'll land there, and then set up a meeting between General Niazi and me.
But General Arora also came?
No.
For the surrender?
No. Surrender hasn't taken place yet.
Hasn't yet, yeah.
So, set up a meeting for Jacob and
General Niazi.
And Niazi. So the two of them sat in the office and they had a powwow. And he said, we are ready to surrender. So he said, then I'll ask my army commander to come down, and then between you and the army commander, you sign the documents of surrender. So it was decided that 4:30, surrender ceremony will take place at the race course in Dhaka. All the 90,000 troops there will parade. General Niazi will hand over his revolver to General Arora. The troops will put their weapons down and surrender. And then the surrender ceremony will take place, for which General Arora arrived for the surrender ceremony. General Arora, General Jacob, the naval gentleman, Avi, they signed the surrender. I was there. And then...
You were there when the surrender thing?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, okay.
We were all there with Niazi and all at that time. Then...
What was the mood in the troops who have to put down their...
Very sad and dejected, but what can you do? Some are victors and some are vanquished. So...
Did they expect to be taken care of as per the Geneva Convention, or did they actually think that be massacred?
No, they hoped that Indians would
keep their word.
They were more frightened of Mukti Bahini. With us was Mukti Bahini.
Correct.
We must have had 500 Mukti Bahini with us. They were frightened that they would be lynched.
Because they had committed genocide there.
So they were frightened they'd be lynched by the Mukti Bahini.
Yeah.
So surrender ceremony took place. They laid down the weapons, then went in for a cup of tea.
Did you have to hold back the Mukti Bahini?
We had to.
You had to.
My God, we throughout while we were in Dhaka, we didn't allow the Mukti Bahini to go near any of them.
They would have killed them in cold blood.
They would have killed them. You couldn't stop them. Now.
But you could understand, right?
Yeah.
They had seen their people killed, raped, looted, bloodied, everything. Village after village.
Terrible. I was placed in command of one of the prisoner of war camps there. So I said, let me talk to the officers. So they all lined up. And I went around meeting the officers and I said, I'm Colonel Brar. He said, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. I said, don't worry. You fought your war, but you'll be looked after under the Geneva Convention. They were all looking up like that. Till I came to a particular officer, he's looking down. So I said, why don't you look up, son? So he looked up. He was Colonel Akbar of the Baluch regiment, he and I did the staff college in Australia together in 1965.
Oh.
I said, Akbar. He said, Bulbul. I said, I'm sorry. Today you're the vanquished and we are the victors. But you're wearing khaki uniform, I'm wearing olive green uniform. We are both soldiers. We are both fighting for our countries. And we are friends as soldiers. Now, first of all, give me the phone number of Nazreen, your wife in Lahore. Let me ring her up and tell her you're going to be safe, you'll be home soon, and this, that, and the other. And in the evening, we'll have kebabs together. So that I rang up Nazreen. She answered. I said, Nazreen, this is Bulbul Brar from the Indian. Salam alaikum, आप कैसे हैं, किधर हैं, कहाँ हैं, मैं ढाका में हूँ. Just calling to tell you, Akbar is with me, he's okay, we are going to have kebabs together this evening, please don't worry. सब ठीक ठाक है, वो कुछ चंद दिनों में आपके पास पहुँच जाएंगे. खुदा सलामती ये वो सब and all that. In the evening we had kebabs together.
Amazing.
Akbar and me.
You know what it is to be a vanquished soldier because you were there in the 62 war.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know what it is like.
It is. So, war was over. They all laid down their arms. And I stayed on in Dhaka till Mujibur Rahman came back. You know, Mujibur Rahman had been arrested and taken away, sent away by Pakistan.
He never saw the war.
No, he never saw the war. Then eventually, UK gave him a Royal Air Force Comet plane and flew him down to Dhaka. He arrived in Dhaka at the same airport, and everyone was there, thousands and thousands of people. Jai Mujib, Jai Mujib, Jai Mujib, you know, and what a welcome he got when Mujibur Rahman arrived. But those memories don't go away easily now. I can still see myself standing in Dhaka, Mujibur Rahman and all this. Bangabandhu.
Yeah.
In fact, when we were entering Dhaka, Joy Hind, Joy Bangla, Joy Hind, Joy Bangla, fantastic it was.
Yeah.
But there you are.
Just a life well lived. Any regrets when you look back in your career? I can't even say career as a soldier, but your life as a soldier.
No regrets. I knew I'm going to be a soldier when I was 5 years old. I saw my father as a major general every morning wearing his uniform, and I said, this is the way I want to go into. I want to join the army. I want to join the same regiment, the Maratha Light Infantry. And I was born to be a soldier and carried on my life. And that life still carries on. My only regret now is I'm getting old every day and I'm no longer young. And
You're 89 years young, General Saab. You have amazing memory, and you explain chronologically exactly what happened in 71 and Operation Blue Star.
Yeah.
So hats off to you. What Punjab was in the 1980s. So if you could give me a little bit of background information about what the situation was before the army was asked to intervene.
You're very correct. Generations after 80s don't know anything about it. In the 80s, or let's say in 82, 83, 84, things were very bad over there. There was no law and order at all. The police had become a defunct force. There was this saint who had risen from a village, but he had such a charismatic personality that everyone accepted him almost like a 11th guru, chap called Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. He lived in a village called Rode, but he went around giving his sermons, and at that stage, slowly and steadily, the state of Punjab started crippling. And Bhindranwale was an all-powerful man. There were murders, there was smuggling taking place, banks being looted. There was no law and order at all. If someone had a problem, his electricity has been cut off, he just had to go to Bhindranwale, touch his feet and say, "My electricity has been cut off, I'm a poor chap." And Bhindranwale would call one of his assistants and give orders. "Please tell the deputy commissioner by 4 o'clock this evening, the electricity better be restored." That was the situation.
So there was a cult built up around Bhindranwale.
And the state administration and the state police forces were totally dysfunctional.
Right.
A DIG of police, as you know, was killed and just thrown outside the Golden Temple.
Yeah.
A lot of the police were afraid to even take any action against anyone because Bhindranwale had become so powerful. He had become like a Frankenstein. His orders were the last orders. So things were very, very bad there. In fact, in the beginning of 1984, the feeling was very strong that they are going to declare Khalistan. All his tapes, his speeches, were all that we are not with India. This was a Hindu Raj, Gandhi Raj, Indira Gandhi Raj. We are Sikhs. We have more in common with the Pakistanis. Their blood and our blood is similar. So out here we are treated as second-class citizens. We must have our own state. And therefore the feeling started building up about Khalistan. The movement started building up. And the youth, at that time there was a lot of unemployment in Punjab. The youth were without jobs. They had motorcycles and scooters and they roamed around with little pistols and revolvers. And there were many gangsters. So, in other words, law and order had totally broken down. The feeling of Khalistan was slowly building up. Bhindranwale was fully in control of the state. And his last few tapes, which were circulated in the villages, said that I'm here to create this new state. I don't expect the army to ever move into the Golden Temple. If they do, they'll get a bloody nose. But what I want you all to do is that if the Golden Temple is ever attacked, I want you to come here in your thousands and millions and surround the forces who dare to step inside the Golden Temple. These messages and recordings were being circulated all over the villages. And the people had been motivated that if anything happens, you come straight to the Golden Temple. And therefore this was behind our mind throughout, that we have to finish this operation fast. Because the moment the news goes to the hinterland, to the villages, that our Darbar Sahib has been attacked, they will all start converging towards Amritsar. They'll come with guns, rifles, spears, swords, anything that they can have. And what a terrible situation it would have been that the army is inside the Golden Temple carrying out an operation, and here we have thousands and thousands of Sikh supporters of the movement who have surrounded the army. Now, who do we fight? The people inside or the people outside? It was so this was at the background of everyone's mind that they are going to declare Khalistan any time. At the same time, thousands of Sikhs will converge to the Golden Temple. So this operation must be finished as fast as possible. Speed was a criteria.
So when were you sent to Amritsar? What was the timeline given to you, and what were your orders then?
Actually, on the 1st of June, I was to go on 2 months annual leave.
1984, 1st of June.
1984, 1st of June, my leave had been sanctioned. I was commanding a division in Meerut. And in the evening of the 31st of May, we were all in the mess having a drink, and everyone was bidding us goodbye and have a good leave, sir. Have a nice holiday. We were going to Manila in the Philippines. And while we were at this dinner, a phone call came from Chandigarh to say that General Brar is required in the operations room in Chandigarh tomorrow by 12 o'clock.
You're Major General at that time?
I was a Major General. So I looked at my wife, I said, we better start moving now, get to Delhi, and then we'll go on to Chandigarh. But I'll go alone. You keep the tickets, all the travelers' checks. I'll be back by the evening. There must be some conference. And we take our flight. So I flew into Chandigarh on the 1st of June, 1984. There were cars waiting for me at the airport. I was rushed to Chandi Mandir, to the operations room. Over there, I found maps on the wall, people all tensed up.
It's a war room.
It was a war room. I was wondering what's happening. But at the same time, often even for riot control and aid to civil power, these sort of war rooms are set up.
Were you the senior most in that room?
In that room?
Yeah.
No. General Sundarji was sitting there. He was the army commander, GOC Western Command. And his chief of staff was General Dayal, Ranjit Singh Dayal, Lieutenant General. Both were there. And then his MGGS, Major General Staff, was Major General Mehta. He was also there. Now Mehta was standing with a stick to point out various things on the maps. There were a number of maps stuck up. So they said, take a seat, take a seat. I sat down. There's no time to waste. Let's get down to business straight away, he said. I said, yes, sir.
Who said? General Sundarji?
General Sundarji. Let's get down to business straight away. You know how Sundarji is. He speaks with strength. I was still in my mind wondering, what is this business? No idea. Then he said, well, Bulbul, he called me by my nickname. He says, Bulbul, we've called you here for a very special mission. And General Mehta, my MGGS, will now brief you of what the situation in Amritsar is. The situation is very serious. And we'll want you to move to Amritsar the moment this briefing is over and start planning the operation. So I said, sir, this evening I'm flying to Manila. I'm on 2 months annual leave. So he looked at General Dayal. General Dayal looked at him.
Cancer.
They whispered to each other. They spoke a few words. And then he said, I'm sorry, your leave is cancelled. There's a more important job waiting for you.
Sure.
You can have your leave after that. I said, all right, sir. Then started the briefing. And in the briefing, they told me how bad things were and how Khalistan may be declared within the next 5 or 6 days. And if Khalistan is declared, Pakistan would cross the border, and get into India, our part of Punjab, just as we went into Bangladesh. They would recognize Khalistan. They would say Khalistan is recognized by Pakistan. They would cross the border and start moving towards Amritsar. Now, at that stage, we would have to defend the border. So there had to be adequate troops to defend that border. So the division in Amritsar, there was one division in Amritsar, they were given the task to defend the borders. They had moved into the areas right along the front. My division was in Meerut. I came down by air. My troops were still in Meerut. So he said, the task will be too much. We'd have to stop Pakistan from entering India. There's a possibility Punjab police will mutiny and join in with Khalistan. They'll recognize Khalistan and they say that is our state. As it is, they had become dysfunctional. So we would have to then disarm the police.
So the DGP was not part of this war room?
DGP, no. At this time, it was just the army.
The army, okay.
So the police would have to be disarmed. At the same time, we'd have to be defending our territory from Pakistani invasion. And there would be a terrible situation of the 1947 riots, like it happened in 1947.
Goodness.
The Hindus from Punjab would be rushing out towards Delhi and Haryana. The Sikhs from Haryana and Delhi would be rushing into Punjab. So a large number of forces would be required for riot control. So the army would have to now make sure you defend your territory against Pakistan. You disarm the police. That means there would be no police. As it is, the police was ineffective. Army would have to take over complete control. And at the same time, you do riot control. Who else was there to do riot control if the police has become ineffective? So it would have been a very difficult task. And therefore, it was necessary that whatever operation we have to carry out must be done quickly.
A surgical operation.
Surgical operation. We mustn't give them time. The masses and the villagers mustn't know that we've got into the
mobilization should be stopped at any cost.
So the briefing took place.
Right.
And he said to me, today is the 1st. I don't think we have more than 4 or 5 days. So you get to Amritsar. There's a plane waiting outside to take you to Amritsar. You ask your troops to start moving from Meerut. Meanwhile, my headquarters has given orders that the transport and everything should be kept ready. And they've already been warned to be ready to move to Amritsar. I had one brigade in Jalandhar and 2 in Amritsar. So they all had to start moving to Amritsar. That itself would have taken them a full day.
By road?
By road. And I had to move to Amritsar by air. A couple of my staff officers from Meerut also flew down by air. So he said, I'll come to you on the 3rd for your first briefing. That'll give you about 48 hours to make your outline plan. We'll discuss it as to how we're going to carry out this operation. I said, sure, sir. And I said, meanwhile, can I send word to my wife in Delhi to say that our leave is cancelled? Please return the tickets. I'm not returning back. I'm going on a mission and I'll speak to you later. Of course. So his staff officer rang up my wife, informed her, because they didn't want me to waste any time, to inform her, General is not returning to Delhi. He has been given a mission. The leave is cancelled. You're not going to Manila. So he will get in touch with you later today.
When mission's done.
So this briefing ended. Everyone was quiet over there. We didn't know what to expect.
But you know it's an enormous task by now.
Enormous task. So I saluted him and I said, I will wait for you on the 3rd, sir. Meanwhile, I'll go and carry out my planning. And I flew down to Amritsar. I drove down to headquarters, 15 Infantry Division. They're the division in Amritsar. They're the ones who should have actually been given this task because they know the Golden Temple, they know the police forces, they know who's the DG police, they know who's the deputy commissioner, they know who's the commissioner. I'm a new man. I've come from a different area altogether. I've literally come from UP. Meerut is in the UP with no idea about the Golden Temple. But then one has to realize that that division had a task on the border. So either I go to the border, but I wouldn't know what are the tasks over there. They're already ready to take on the Pakistanis. So I was the best man to undertake this task. And I left for Amritsar and went straight to the headquarters of the division. I had my staff to open a war room there. We set up a war room, put up all the maps. I said, we'll have a little initial briefing first, and then we will have a larger audience. All police forces had been placed under my command. The DG police, the CRPF, they were now all under my command. So I could call them any time. But first let me make my own plan before I call them. So the whole of that day, 1st of June, went in the thinking process. How do we do this? There were various advisors there from within the army. And it was decided that it has to be a surgical operation. But there is no other way except to physically enter the Golden Temple. One had earlier thought about an aerial operation coming by helicopters, dropping people into the Golden Temple. Then they realized that it will be too dangerous because they're very heavily armed inside that Golden Temple, about 2,000 of them.
You had intel about how many people, what are the arms, and which section of the temple they're sitting in?
Well, hazy information, because who was there to give you information, We had, when I got to Amritsar, I got to know that there are about 2,000 of these terrorists inside. They're heavily armed. They've got machine guns, rocket launchers, grenades, light machine guns, and rifles, country guns, and they have made emplacements inside the marble of the temple. They've got sandbags all over. They've closed all the windows, closed all the doors. They've blocked everything.
They were preparing for an assault.
Yeah. They were preparing for an assault, but they still in their minds believed that the government of India wouldn't be strong enough to order an assault inside.
But they weren't strong enough. I'm sorry to say this, but when the government of the day can see this kind of weaponry going inside any place of worship, they aren't strong enough. They couldn't stop it from happening. I mean, I'm saying it in hindsight, sir.
You see, people closed their eyes when these weapons were going in. The police was too frightened of the terrorists. They dare not check the vehicles. They dare not check what's going in. And can you imagine how many vehicles come in every day? Every day they must be feeding thousands and thousands of people who come there to pray in the Golden Temple. They have their langar, as you know, inside the Golden Temple. Rice, dal, roti, vegetables. So they would have enough
trucks going
supplies for at least 15 days. 15 days of cooking oil, atta, ghee, rice, dal, everything was there.
Also, what I'm told is that that was an era when there were no those bulletproof gates, the frisking weapons weren't, those instruments weren't there. So it was easy to smuggle in grenades, rocket launchers under vegetables.
They were coming in with these langar trucks, The food was coming into the Golden Temple. In those trucks, the weapons were coming in, and they were covered. Though the police may have got some idea about it, but the idea was not accurate.
And there were no dogs, sniffer dogs, nothing?
No, nothing like that. The police dared not come near the Golden Temple.
Right, sir.
I couldn't see a man in khaki dress around there.
You went till the temple?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
It's said that you did some kind of a recce to inside the temple.
I did my recce from outside. I dare not do it inside. I dare not stay inside. Because if they get hold of me, I'm the commander of this operation, the operation won't start.
They would have recognized you?
Of course they would have recognized me. There was a chap there called General Shabeg Singh. Shabeg Singh and I were good friends.
71 war.
71 war. Before that, when I was a cadet in the JSW, part of NDA, part of the Indian Military Academy, he was my instructor. He was a captain.
Yeah.
And I was a cadet. So I knew Shabeg Singh from that time. Then, of course, 71 war. And Shabeg knew me well enough. In fact, I was told when the operation was over by a number of these people who we had captured, prisoners. They said, Shabeg Singh had told Bhindranwale that it's not going to be easy. We're going to have a tough fight if the army decides to come in, because I can see General Kuldip Brar outside. I was outside on the rooftop somewhere else. He says, I can see him. I know he's in charge of this operation. And he's a tough guy. He's a Jat Sikh. Just like you and just like me. We are all Jat Sikhs. We fight. And it's not going to be easy. We're going to have a tough time on us.
And you knew that General Shabeg is there.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy for you either.
Correct. I knew what a crafty man he was. And when I saw those defenses, and I saw how our troops were facing casualties when they went in, I realized that Shabeg's planning had been superb.
You had seen him in action, in wartime.
Yeah.
And when you say crafty, his craft was good. His war craft was good so long as it was for India.
That's right.
But here he was using that craft in a terror operation.
That's right.
Right?
But it's still craft, you see.
Yeah.
He still knew how to defend the place.
So you have this Bhindranwale, who you don't have any good things to say about him.
No.
He wasn't. And here you have this crafty Jat Sikh whose patriotism one could never even think twice about. You had such complete faith in it. And so what happened to him?
Unfortunately, he was court-martialed. What exactly his crime was, I don't know. And he was dismissed from service. A little before Operation Blue Star, he was dismissed from service as a Major General. So, his anger, he was very angry with not only the army but with the government of India, because he considered himself a very good officer, a good soldier, and he didn't believe he had done anything wrong. But the court-martial found him guilty. And the verdict was cashiered. So he decided to go to Amritsar and seek the blessings of
this cult and
Bhindranwale. Anyone who had any problem or trouble in Punjab, they always went to seek the blessings of Bhindranwale.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा।
The issue is, टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है।
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दो?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब।
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप।
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI, it does not lie।